Hey guys, it's the Buddyfight News Corner back again with Deck Building 101. This time we're doing it on Netdecking because it's a widely discussed topic on our page, and we figured why not? More content.
Yeah.
Gotta love the content.
So first we gotta, explain what exactly net decking is in a general sense.
And Netdecking is the practice of copying a winning deck where deck lists are posted from high profile events such as the uh, is it BWC now? Well, since it's not Springfest anymore.
Yeah.
Sure, BWC that just happened in Texas. We got all the top 8 deck lists now. So if you're looking them up, you're net decking,
Yeah.
especially if you're copying them card for card.
Yeah. It's
It's
also
also often referred to as a negative because, you're just copying, you're not being creative, you're just picking up wins using somebody else's list that already did well with it. How dare you?
yeah. Whew. But you see, net decking is actually it's okay. You
It's A-okay.
you don't
Good job, guys. Keep at it.
know good parts about net decking is that some people, they don't have the time or the skill of actually deck building. So they go and rely on
People
others
suck.
people's lists.
Some people suck.
Yeah. I let you
You ain't
do.
getting into any names
Oh boy.
or any faces.
Oh boy.
You know who you are.
And
You
then you
know who you are.
and then you can actually play with the list a lot more than you would if you had to make your own list from scratch. You actually have time to test it instead of, oh boy, I have this tournament in 2 weeks. I have to spend a week and a half making the deck, and then I have a day and a half to actually practice with it. And then you get the whole 2 weeks to actually practice. We just net decked.
Because who wants to have a tournament winning deck with barely local level winning skills?
Yeah.
It's not a good idea.
It gives you a starting point of what cards are good and what cards are not. And some people still can't tell the difference of a good card versus a bad card, or why a card, what makes a card good and what makes a card bad.
Here we go. Good cards are good. Bad cards are bad. Meh cards are meh.
And then it gives you the
You don't
starting
want to
point.
use the bad
No,
cards.
you never want to use the bad cards. And then it gives you that starting point. A lot of people need to jump right into the competitive scene, so it's not. If you want to win, you want that deck. If you're starting out just because you don't know what you're doing, so bringing a trial deck is not the best course of action. Neither is throwing 50 random Ancient World cards in a deck and going to a tournament. That's not going to work out either.
Play one copy of every Dragon World card in existence and then see what
Boy,
happens.
that's still like a 150 card deck. That's terrible. Don't do that.
Pretty sure it'd be bigger than 150, but we're not
Ah,
going to count.
no one's going to count that. All right. However, there are bad things about net decking that everyone needs to be aware of.
Because knowing is half the battle.
Some by just net decking and never actually taking the time to learn why the choices of the cards the original owner had put in, you never know why the card is good or why the card is bad. You just, oh, this person said it's good and it won. I guess I gotta play it.
Autopilot.
Yeah, it's like copying Kaiserion. You didn't really have to know what card was good and what card was bad, so you just had to do it. But nowadays, with all of the massive card pools we have, just because one card was good for that regional doesn't mean you should be playing max copies of it like they were. And people
Like
never understand why.
Tiger Thrust is good for areas with like big wall decks, heavy centered metas, but it's not necessarily going to be as good in, say, a locals or regionals that's playing all open center decks like Sun Dragons and the like.
Yeah. And you obviously don't actually get to have fun looking at the cards and figuring out what works and what doesn't. But again, not everyone has time to do that, no matter how fun it actually is.
If you're good at it, because if you're bad at it, you have a bad time. You just stare at a giant pool of cards and you go, "What?"
Yeah. And some people don't like you because you're net decking. They're like, you just want cheap and easy wins. You need to build your own deck. Mm,
Spawn of Satan, get your own ideas.
yeah. Yeah. Now, there's a way to, net deck properly and not just, I'm going to take all these lists and I'm going to play every one of them card for card and never change anything. You take all those lists, you test them all, and then you do whatever it is you need to make them your own and that they work for you in your local area or your regional area, whatever. And then you take what worked with that list and what worked with the other list, you throw them together, and then you see if that works.
And obviously, you try to take out what bad parts didn't work. You just,
Yeah.
kick those off to the side. Maybe they'll make it to the sideboard. Maybe they won't. That's what testing is for.
And you gotta make sure you keep up with your local region so that way you know what techs you need for countering the people in your area. Like for instance,
Hit them with the habanero. Hit them with the habanero pepper.
like New York is a whole bunch of Dragon World players, so running a whole bunch of penetrate isn't gonna do you much good.
But you sideboard or mainboard and hell out of Dragon Heat.
Dragon Hate, you really want Dragon Hate New York. Oh boy. And then do lots and lots of testing. You need it. You really do.
As much as you can get.
And then you just
The
keep
more you can
building
get, the
more.
better.
You do it as many times as you can until you get good at it. And
Because repetition is good for the mind, good for the body,
uh,
good
you
for
know,
the spirit.
net decking is pretty good for making a competitive environment because it gets everyone together, and you can show everyone, oh, yeah, this deck topped. These things are what was in the deck. This is why these were in the deck. And then now you've bestowed upon them the knowledge that you have earned through your testing, and maybe they'll find something later down the line, and they're like, hey, this works better than this. And you go, oh, it does. And then you go and you
You're
try it out,
right.
and you go, oh, it really is. And then you play it, and then, you win some more, and et cetera, et cetera. And you don't.
Or it works the opposite, and you go, ugh, how dare you suggest this card? This card's terrible. Ugh.
That also happens. Don't be afraid of other people's opinions on neck decking. It's not worth it. It's it's not that bad if you do it. Everyone does it at some point. Anyone who's looked at a deck list online, anyone who's ever posted a deck list, they've all either net decked or allowed others to net deck them. So it's nothing that you should be shamed for doing. As long as you've
If
done
somebody
the good
says
things about it,
you're a bad person for neck decking,
they're
just
wrong,
ignore them. Ignore them.
pretty much. And then net decking is a tool. It is not something you use for easy wins. It's something you use for knowledge and research purposes. You don't just go and take the list and expect to do extremely well with it. No matter, even if you did all the practice in the world, just because you have the deck and you know how to play that deck doesn't mean that once the next format arrives, at the start of that format, you will have absolutely nothing and you will have no way of knowing what is good and what is bad, and you'll be at a loss until the first tournament, and then you try to net deck again, and then you repeat the process.
So it's not necessarily a good thing to just copy and paste because like Buddyfight sets, they change the meta so greatly on a regular basis. Like each set drop will drastically change what's playable and what's not, or what's meta and what's not. So if you just copy and paste, you're not going to know how to update your deck. And God forbid you're the first regional of the season like Texas was, and you didn't know what you were walking into. Oh boy.
Yeah, you don't want that.
That's a great way to just get beat out of top
Yeah,
if you
you
make it there.
get beat in general. Yeah, I think that's all we got for today.
Smiling Tasuku is smiling. I think he also agrees that's all we got.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
So that's all for today's Buddyfight 101, ladies and gents. We finally got a camera, so we'll be doing the good format for deck profiles from now on, and probably some fight videos if time permits.
yeah.
And hopefully we'll be posting content more regularly, again, if time permits. But yeah, look forward to our next video. We'll see you then. This is the Buddyfight News Corner.